Okay, I do think I'm live. Yes. So thank you for joining me today for the Mayan Light Language. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Do let me know whether you can hear me. I'm still working out how Facebook Live works, but it'll be great to get some feedback to know that you're there. I can see some viewers. Yes, Mayan Light Language. So we all communicate all the time, mostly with words, but we know all sorts of other communications. One that we are familiar with is body language, and another one we're familiar with is downloads. And light language has a few other twists to it. We do know that whatever communication we're used to using is can cause confusion, can cause misunderstandings. And so the way I was taught light language is it's a language of concepts. And words we know are not perfect. We can say the word chair and everybody has a different image of that chair. We can use the word love and everybody has a different image of what that means. So in light language, when we use light language, it's the actual concept, it's the actual perfection of it. And to really grasp this, because the way I teach it, the way I was taught, is through a download through my electromagnetic field. And to understand these downloads, to really grasp them, imagine you're being thrown a ball and you need to catch the ball. So to be able to catch the ball, you need to have your aura open. It doesn't mean that you're being convinced of anything or that you have to keep the ball. You can always throw it away if it's of no interest to you. But you've got to be ready to catch that ball. And to be ready to catch that ball, you've got to open your aura. The easiest way to make sure that your aura is open is to have your arms uncrossed, to have your legs uncrossed. Because as soon as you cross, your aura also crosses. And of course it's good to have your aura crossed. For example, if you're in a place with lots of people and you don't want to pick up everything from around you. But if you want to get the most out of this short webinar, you'll need to uncross to actually be able to receive that which comes through that is beyond words. Yes. So when we speak in light language, there are no limitations anymore, as we have when we have downloads or when we channel or when we speak with words. When we speak one language and we don't understand another language, or we don't quite know how to give other people a full concept of what we've experienced. For example, you've been on holiday and you want to convey what you experienced during the holidays. And it's difficult to do that in words. It's even difficult to do that in pictures. There's so much missing. There's smells missing. The whole experience is missing. And of course, also, our limitation comes in that sometimes it's really inappropriate in whatever culture you're in to express things that you'd like to express. For example, you have a child climbing up a tree and you yourself are worried that it might fall down. So what we do is we use light language to ensure that the child does not fall down, or the trolley does not roll away, or the dog stands still. And that is a concept that we can send out. And these concepts are sent out not through the mouth, not through emotions, which create a state of being. Like with the heart, you can send out a state of being of love or so, but through the third eye, through here, there's a very precise way of how we send that out to communicate, or how we receive that kind of communication. Now, I was taken into the 24th generation of a Mexican lineage of healers, of curanderos, of shamans in 2002. And I was taught how to teach light language and other things through my energy field in 2006. And ever since, I've been working in this way. And just to give a bit of background, in case you have never met me, I spent 7 years as an assistant to a shaman of the far north. I was trained as a hypnotherapist. I was trained as a homeopath. I was trained as an executive firewalk instructor. I have degrees in maths, physics, and chemistry. I was trained in advanced CRV, controlled remote viewing, as done by the American military. I was trained as a CE5. I do trainings as leading CE5 groups, which is close encounters with the fifth kind. So that's human initiated contact with extraterrestrials. I've been trained as a mother by 2 children, and I'm also the author of The Brilliance of Your Feelings. So my Mayan light language was given 24 generations ago to a Mexican curandero by a little man who fell from the sky. Now, the way we would interpret that, of course, nowadays is an extraterrestrial who fell from the sky, whose spaceship crashed. And so light language, we use the force, the strongest force of our mind. And the strongest force of our mind is focus. And it's not necessarily just the focus that I can focus on one thing. It's the ability of focus, of sending out something very precise through the third eye. Usually when we think of the strongest force of our mind, it's we think of knowledge or wisdom or intelligence. But what it actually is focus. And through learning light language, through working with light language, we come to that when they weave in a mistake because they know it's not possible to be perfect. So they want to know where the imperfection is. So they weave that in on purpose. The level we go to is, for example, you take a cube. If we make a cube in this reality, it will never ever be perfect. But we can use our mind force, our focus of precision to create an image of a perfect cube. The same with a sphere. We can never create a perfect sphere. We can get almost to perfection, but it'll never be absolutely perfect. It's impossible. But when we do go to that level of perfection, we can create with our mind an absolutely perfect sphere. The same with colors. We can think of the perfect red, but we can never paint the perfect red. It'll always have shadows and disruptions, and it won't be pure light. So when we go to that level of light language, we are actually in the we are in the perfect sphere of the actual thing. So when we speak in light language and we speak of love, it'll be the perfect concept of love. It'll be the actual thing of love. Or chair. When we go to light language and we speak with light language, we will have that perfect concept of what a chair is, or peace, or yes, or any concept that we work on. So we work with concepts rather than words. We work with 144 plus different colors, and we work with more than 70 shapes. Let's just practice this. So I'm going to send out to all of you a perfect cube. Just let that come in, that perfection of a cube, and sense what that feels like to you. Perfect cube. And you're most welcome to write in, I think I can see it in the comments, what that perfect cube feels like. Most often, people will feel constricted, limited, or they might feel safe. So here you can always already see that how it is that it's a concept of borders. Now, any words I use are not the actual thing. I can only talk around what the actual concept is. What you need to do is feel that concept, concept of stability. Whether you feel constricted or safe is a different thing. It can be either or. And let's take the complete opposite. So we do away with the cube and we go into the perfection of the sphere. Just receive that sphere. And sense what that concept is. And most often it's a sense of movement, a sense of movement in all directions, a sense of complete possibilities, 360 degrees of possibilities. Again, it can feel insecure to some people and it can feel like freedom to other people. But the concept is still the same. Let's do that with colors. So I'll send out to you the perfection of red. Red, you know, it's activity, it's movement, it's vitality. And it's very primal. It's body, it's a taste, it's blood. And we'll take that away. We'll take the red away, and let's go to another extreme. And we'll bring in the perfect concept of white. White. And you might feel the connection, the channel, the connection to source. Yes, I'm just looking at the comments. Yes, Alexandra, the cube zoomed into my body, which was a little weird. The sphere stayed in front of me and was alive. Yes, that aliveness. Yeah. Okay, a torus field. That's going a little further from the sphere, yes. And greetings to you, Alexandra, in the Czech Republic. Yes, immensity. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Stability for the cube. And at the moment, we're not worrying about where that goes for you, because we're just. I know. Um, let's combine it. Let's combine it, and I'll send to you a red cube. Red cube. So this is a combination of the concept of activity and limitation. The cube is stability, and the red is movement. So what you're doing with a red cube is you're limiting the movement. You're stabilizing the movement. You're holding the movement. Let's take that away and bring in a white cube. A white cube. It stabilizes the connection to source. And maybe you can feel the difference between a red cube and a white cube. Now, when we speak in words to extraterrestrials, to them that is so slow. It's almost like if somebody were spelling out the words of a paragraph. They were telling me about their vacation, and they're spelling out each word. So that's very slow when we use words. And sending concepts is so much quicker, so much more imminent. Imminent's not the word I'm looking for. It's so much more immediate. So when we let's go back to the example I used of the little boy who might be falling down, or the trolley. You're putting all the groceries into the trolley and it might roll away. What we do is we send out a red cube. We send out a red cube to the little boy who's climbing the tree. Sending out a red cube to the dog to stop. We're sending out a red cube to the trolley, and it will stabilize the boy, the trolley, the dog. Now, the dog, of course, has his own free will, and if he doesn't want to stop, he will continue. But you will always see that there's a sort of a jerk, a sort of a moment of, what do I do? Do I accept this communication, or do I not accept this communication? Yes, so what can we do? What else can we do with light language? So this is what we're doing right now, is just one shape with one color, a combination of one shape and one color. But what we do is we combine a whole series of shapes and colors. We can have series of 7 shapes and colors to go into the 7 chakra systems, which is extremely stabilizing to the person, very healing to the person. We use 49 grids of 49 colored shapes, and they can be very healing. They sort of move in time and are like downloads that are then out in the field to bring and attract to you what you want. And then we can go into grids of 144 colored shapes that are huge concepts. Let me see if I can share my screen. Does it have a share screen? No, but I can see if I can share one of those huge big grids of 144 colored shapes, which would in this sphere look a little bit like this. So yes, another thing which is where it's very measurable how light language helps is when we write a grid with 49 colored shapes. There's a specific way of making that to improve the math grades of usually of girls who have learned that girls are not good at maths, and there's a way of doing it so that they can understand really easily the math grades. And I've done that with so many girls. They love it. They put it under their pillow or they hang it above their bed, and the grades improve dramatically in every case. Another way that it's been used, I'm just throwing out a few examples, it could be really used for anything, is I had a student who was experiencing a lot of lies in her home. So she set for the entrance in her home a grid of seven different colored shapes, that the truth will always be spoken in her home. And it certainly changed a lot of who is coming in and who is not coming in, and the truth that is coming out. There is also a very easy way of finding keys, finding thoughts, finding your cell phone, whatever you've lost. And the better you are at light language, the quicker it'll appear. If it is possible to find it, it will appear. When I started out in 2006, it took me 2 days. I knew that within 2 days, whatever I had lost or couldn't find would come back. And now it comes back within an hour. There's also ways of connecting yourself to your luggage so that your luggage will be with you and arrive where you arrive at the same time. What else can we do? These downloads of concepts can be transferred from one person to the next as you learn more and more of light language. And I had an example of one of my students and later assistants. When she first came to me, she said, I'll help you with anything, but the only thing I can't do is I can't translate. And because she grew up bilingual, just like I grew up bilingual. And when you grow up bilingual, you don't have that connection in your brain where you're constantly translating. So she said she couldn't do that. And I know what that feels like. You can either speak one language or you speak the other language, but you don't translate. So I gave her that download. We sit together. I give her the download over my field, and within less than 20 minutes, she was able to do it, which was a great amazement to her. And as we learn more and more of light language, we can also use it for healing. There are healing grids for all sorts of things. And we can either write it out like I just showed you, or we can just sit there and let that wave go through us. Yeah. Yes, I'm just looking at the messages. Yes, white is a certain kind of clarity in connection to source. There's another color that brings in the clarity of more like the clarity of decision. What do I want to decide? And that would be yellow. And the you saw the cube outline at Tekura Taviti. Oh, that's a beautiful place. And yes, you saw the red cube. Uh, Many people see light language without even realizing what it is, without knowing why they're seeing geometric shapes, or why they're seeing colors or combination of colored shapes. Do let me know if you have any questions. Now is a very good time to ask me. It's of course, I can only do this in a limited way. What I would like to know is if it does transmit. My intention is that it does transmit, but I want to know from you whether this actually transmits through the internet, through the ether, to you, to wherever you are, in Europe, in India, yes, hi Niraj, in New Zealand. You saw white. Think it's a higher speed. And so when I was translating, I did a lot of simultaneous translations or interpretations. So for this shaman I was being the assistant for, and I would sometimes have to be very careful not to say what he is about to say, because you sort of tune into before it comes. And also, while I was translating, I was not thinking at all. It's way beyond the analytical mind. It's way beyond the logical mind. And I could do Sudokus while I was translating. Now, of course, that doesn't come across very well to the audience. So I stopped that very, very, very quickly. But it was a wonderful experience for me to see how that works. Can we use light language to communicate telepathically? Absolutely, you can. Oh, Jeanette, wonderful. Greetings to you. It's great to know that it works. Yes, thank you. All the way to Germany. So, yes, the communication will not necessarily be telepathically like words, but it will be concepts. It could include feelings. It could mean that you change it into words, but what is actually transmitted is a concept. And there are many, many concepts. Oh, great. Thank you, Rachel. Works for you too. It really is much more. Okay, let me see what Susanna is writing. Okay, to stabilize your dog, Sippo, when he has an inflammation of the liver. Susanna, I'm not sure. You have taken light language, so you would create a 49 grid for your dog, for the inflammation. Unfortunately. Okay, so you're saying Murian, that the internet is not so good. Yeah, I don't know which side it is on. It should be all right here. I tested it before, but who knows? And maybe I do have realized that light language is not necessarily something that everybody wants me to teach. It's in the lineage, my grandmother from that village in Mexico, she wanted light language to go out into the world. She said, it is time for the people to know this. And then she passed away, and I do know that the person who took over the lineage after that really isn't that keen for light language to be shared with the world. So, and of course, it's very powerful when you're able to do light language, and it really raises your vibrations to very high levels. Last time we did Light Language 3, an in-person course, there were days where we didn't feel like eating, and the food looked so wonderful, it smelled so wonderful, but we didn't even need any physical food anymore. Is there a concept that is good to initiate communication? Yes. Communication is, you would use blue for communication. Blue is a really good way to communicate. And then it also depends upon, which shape would you use? What kind of communication do you want? Do you want it to flow well? Do you want to get a point across? Do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to resonate very well? Do you want the communication to be versatile and change? So, as a bonus, what I would like to do is share. How do I do that? I would need to share the screen to really, but I'm not finding a share screen here. I thought I had seen it before. Well, we'll have to do it without a shared screen. I'd like to share a very interesting shape with you. The shape consists of 12 sides, and each side is a pentagon. So each side has 5 sides to it. So you've got five lines creating a pentagon, and you've got 12 of those. So we've got the number 5 and we've got the number 12. Then the number 5 is, we've got 5 fingers. And the number 12 creates a complete set of something. So this shape is called a dodecahedron. You can Google it if you want to, and the shape will come up for you. Dodeca means 12 sides, and 12 is a basic principle of a full set of whatever it is. The 12 days of Christmas is a full set. 12 eggs to a dozen, a full, complete set. 12 astrological signs, the complete set of astrological signs. 12 nights of the round table, 12 months to the year, the 12 tribes of Israel, a complete set. So the dodecahedron, 12 sides, is a complete set. And when you understand a complete set, it is very healing, because you've got an overview of all the possibilities, all the basic possibilities. And the 5 means you're able to act on it. So let's look at a dodecahedron. Even if you can't picture it in your mind, even if you don't know what a dodecahedron looks like, just see if you can receive this colored shape. I'm sending you the white dodecahedron. White dodecahedron allows you to see 12 different ways of purity, of unification, of connection to source. And when you see 12 possibilities, you don't have judgment anymore, because you see it all. It lifts you to a higher sphere. It lifts you to a higher dimension, beyond judgment. So that's my little bonus gift to you, the white dodecahedron. And I just back to the concept of communication. So for example, if you used a blue, I haven't downloaded a blue sphere, that would get the communication really going, could get you to drama. If you used a blue dodecahedron, that would give you 12 options of communication. It would heal the communication because there are 12. You've got the full set of possibilities for how to communicate well. I'm just looking at the comments again. Is a concept that, yeah, I'm recently getting into hypnosis a bit, and I wonder if there is a connection, similarity. Only in the way that you are moving beyond our physical level. Then, oh, kia ora una. I get a thread inserted back of neck. 13, if you go to 13, you are opening up to the next possibility, the next set. You're beginning the next set of completeness. So yes, so beautiful. Any other questions? And of course, in the meantime, greetings to all the people in Europe and New Zealand. I do miss New Zealand very much. And of course, the people in the US are all asleep. They'll probably be watching this later. Otherwise, I would say that'll complete this very short, very brief introduction into light language. There are so many possibilities with light language. It's unlimited, really. If you are interested in learning light language, I might be thinking about doing this online, doing an online light language course. If you're interested to connect with me either on Facebook Messenger or send me an email on una.ferguson@gmail.com, una, OONA, .ferguson with double S, FERGUSSON, @gmail.com. And if people are interested, I'd be happy to teach it online. It definitely is not something that is for everyone, but those for who it is, they thrive in it. They blossom in it. So yes, you're so welcome, Rachel. It's good to know you're there. Hope you're doing well. And we've got a question from Jeanette. Was hilft die Kommunikation mit dem Spüren von Emotionen? Yes, emotions, also blue. Connecting to feeling the emotions. Yes, many people think it's the heart, it's green, but green is more about balance and health. And the emotions come with the voice. So that's the way we are taught. So emotions, communication. Emotions are a way of communicating also. So use blue for that. Blue is also very calming, very relaxing, and a wonderful color. They all are, really. Just imagine, more than 144 colors. Yes. Okay, so I think we'll bring this to an end, unless I see anything else in the comments. Thank you very much for being there, for getting up early in New Zealand, and for spending time during the middle of the day in Europe on a Saturday. And much, much love to every one of you. Be well.